running for Lussier, a PAC leader since 2001. In 2012, on a Sunday afternoon in June, a group of PAC mothers and children were gathered at Rocket Ship Mosaic Charter School near Story and McLaughlin. We were sitting outside for a planning meeting for education reform when we heard multiple gunshots. As the mothers and children ran into the building for safety, I stood up and saw a man standing in the middle of the street pointing a gun towards the street corner right across from the school. There on the sidewalk was a young man laying on his side. The thought went through my head, there lies some mother's child. I must try to help him. I headed for the fence opening and out to the sidewalk. The shooter by this time was out of my view as I reached the street. I prayed as I crossed the street for divine protection and guidance to be able to assist this young man, who I later learned went by the nickname Junior. I kneeled down beside him. He was breathing, but non-responsive. I lifted his head to open his airway. I cradled him and told him help was on the way. I assured him that I would stay until they arrived. Those minutes seemed like eternity. Before the paramedics arrived, Junior took his last breath cradled in my arms. Junior was just walking a friend home from school and was in the wrong neighborhood. Our young people should be able to walk down the street without being gunned down and have choices to survive and thrive beyond gangs, drugs, and crime. And our residents deserve to live in safe neighborhoods. In addition to increased police staffing, what innovative evidence-based practices or strategies would you employ to decrease crime and reduce recidivism in our communities? Supervisor Cortese, you have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you. This is one of the biggest problems that we're facing now as a city, or at least a piece of the problem. 5.5 years ago, when I left the city council, we had 1,398 police officers. We have 878 today. And that means not only do we not have enforcement, but we no longer have a full crime prevention unit that works with our schools. We have to focus on intervention and prevention. Now, there's been a lot of blame shifting in this race. And you may hear my opponent get up here and try to blame me for fiscal problems that happened during the last 6 years under his watch. But the fact of the matter is, it's time that we stop making excuses and we start bringing police officers back, we start bringing neighborhood patrols back, and we put services right on our school campuses like we used to do.
Please hold your applause until both candidates have spoken. Please, thank you.
As a member of the County Board of Supervisors, I recreated a program called School Link Services, which puts county services, drug and alcohol, gang intervention services, mental health services, even probation officers right on our school campuses. And I wrote a letter to the mayor and the city council inviting them to be in partnership with us on this program so we can start once again intervening with our youth and getting them diverted in the right direction instead of the wrong direction. I'm yet to receive a response in over 2 years to that letter. That's what I'll do as mayor of San Jose. We will link up with the county of Santa Clara and join forces, and we'll get back out on our school campuses and do the work that we need to do. You know, in the same few years since we lost all these police officers, we balanced our budget at the city by negotiating with our employees, by saving $225 million, so you still have deputy sheriffs at full force in this county. We didn't lose our police force. We got to get people back at the city of San Jose and get these programs to full force. I have been a youth mentor, and my wife has for the last 20 years. We work in the Overfeld community and the Yerba Buena community. You will see me expand those mentoring programs as mayor of the city of San Jose.
Both candidates have spoken, please.
Thank you. Well, an important difference between the two candidates here is that I've actually put a plan together to actually pay for new officers that we need to add in this city by utilizing fiscal and pension reform savings to do so. I came into office at a time in which I was handed multiple billions of dollars of pension debts that had been created by prior council members, and we were paying officers hundreds of thousands, well, 6 figures to retire. And as a result, we couldn't pay officers to work. So we lost 323 officers before pension reform was ever enacted, precisely because of layoffs, because of hiring freezes, because we were guaranteeing to officers when they retired at age 52 that they could get a $200,000 pension by the time they were in their 70s. We couldn't pay for it. And so I stood up with 70% of our voters for pension reform. Now we're hiring. Now we've got a 3rd academy, and we're pushing forward to add officers. But here's what's critical. The question's about innovative approaches outside of officers. I've put together a very clear program, and I hope you have a chance to look at the book that I have in the back there, where I focused on several critical strategies. How we can get to kids before the games do. We need more summer jobs for at-risk youth. And I've identified the funding we can use to ensure we get more of our teens involved in work so they are not left on the streets with nothing to do. We know we need to give them a path so they can provide for their families. At the same time, they can get a job on their resume. That's a critical first step. Secondly, I propose how we can expand after-school programs throughout the east side, downtown, other areas where we know a lot of kids don't have access to sports programs and learning after school. We know we can make our kids safer, and we can make our community safer if we know they're in a safe place where they can learn. And finally, we can restore community policing by keeping officers in the neighborhoods rather than rotating them out every 6 months, as is currently the practice under the current police contract. Thank you.